The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
It's either somebody's pulling your bone, somebody is just harassing you, or somebody's trying to get something out of you.
Okay. All you gotta do is be your phone call from the FBI. I'm going to call my mom and have my mom call the office.
The chaos within the Adelson family is being revealed through recorded calls and surveillance videos showed in Mama Donna's trial. So was the undercover extortion the beginning of the end for their alleged criminal plan? And in less than an hour, the jury will be back to hear more testimony from that FBI special agent who's helping the state decode, so to speak, the family conversations. This as the case against Mama Donna rolls on. Plus, closing arguments are set to begin after the Labor Day holiday and rapper Cardi B's civil case. We've got a preview for you of the all-important moments and a look at the Grammy Award winner's courtroom style. It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Friday morning to you and welcome to Opening Statements. We made it. I'm Julie Grant. And boy, it's been a great week and we got a great show ahead to kick off the weekend. So let's start it off as we always do. Grab that cup of coffee. It's time for my opening statement. Donna's got one headphone on like a DJ and Harvey has his headphones taken away. Lots of listening device drama going on in the Adelson trial. So in addition to those two making the trial watchers talk, the case evidence presented Thursday had a listening theme as well. The jury got to see some surveillance videos and listen to some phone calls from wiretaps that arguably tie Mama Donna to that sinister murder-for-hire plot that took the life of her former son-in-law, Danny Markel. I'll tell you what, my friends, the bump worked. It got the Adelsons squirming and talking. And when you think about the time frame, think about this. Danny Markel's murdered in the summer of 2014. The bump doesn't happen until spring of 2016. Makes me wonder, weren't the Adelsons nervous during those 2 years? Or were they able to just put the murder out of their minds and just move on with their lives? I wonder, don't you? Just like many of you were wondering why DJ Donna had one headphone on. Well, I have no idea. I know she's not spinning club music. My best guess is that she wants to be able to whisper and talk to her attorney, so without having to take off the whole entire headset, she can do that easily if one is flipped the wrong way. My best guess. So, as for Harvey, it's clear that Harvey broke the rules. He brought into the courtroom headphones. You're not supposed to do that. Very strict rules with different media devices. So the deputy took them away, as we saw. And I think Harvey learned his lesson. But my friends, it seems to me that the biggest lesson that everybody can learn from the Adelsons' surveillance experience is that no matter how careful you think you're being in speaking in your own little code, you're going to sound really foolish when the wiretap is used against you in court. That's my opening statement. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
The state of Florida versus Lawrence Doherty, case number 2022, CF 5250. Verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of second-degree murder as charged in the information.
It's an all-Florida daily docket today, my friends. So here we go. We've got sentencing for Lawrence Doherty starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. He was convicted in the fatal shooting of former Orlando Magic player Adrian Payne. In Tampa, we've got a pretrial detention hearing for defendant Alicia Andrews. She's charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy for her alleged role in the ambush shooting of rapper Julio Folio. That's going to start up at 3 p.m. And in Tallahassee, you guessed it, the state's case continues in the murder trial for Mama Donna Adelson. Testimony set to start this morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. We'll go in there live as soon as it begins. So let's dig in a little bit more to the matriarch murder mastermind case. We have an FBI special agent named Pat Sanford returning to the stand for his third day on direct examination. Just direct, 3 days, okay? This agent's presenting tons of recorded calls and surveillance videos that arguably tie Mama Donna to the murder-for-hire plot of her former son-in-law, Danny Markel. Court TV's Julia Janae is on the ground and has more from Tallahassee.
Good morning, Julie. We are here waiting for day 6 of testimony to start in the Leon County Courthouse. And I got to tell you, out of all of the trials that we cover on Court TV, there's not too many that have this elaborate an investigation with evidence in court, like distance lens surveillance photos of unsuspecting people and hidden cameras in a mesh bag at a restaurant and wiretaps that recorded hours upon hours of conversation. But that's all on display inside of this courtroom in the case against Donna Adelson. Now, the jurors inside, they have their own set of headphones, their own monitor to listen to these calls like this one of Donna calling back an undercover agent who pretended to be a blackmailing gang member who threatened to expose the Adelsons if not given money.
I am out of the loop. It is not me.
My brother in jail, we were in Broward together. He told me the whole thing, and he hasn't been taken care of. All that's being asked for is $5K. That's all we're asking for is for $5K. And he told me everything, and I know everything. I know who's involved.
I know I lost my ex-son-in-law. I did not have anything to do with it.
Meanwhile, in this gallery that's packed with trial watchers, we see Dan Markel's father, Phil Markel, listening along to all of this. This is the 4th trial his family has had to sit through. And opposite from him on the other side is Donna's husband, Harvey. He waits every day until everyone has left the courtroom, making sure that he locks eyes lovingly with his wife, who is on trial for Markel's murder. Julie, back to you.
All right, thanks to Julia Janae for that early report. Now, Special Agent Sanford is expected to be on the stand for most of today with one other witness on deck for the state. Maybe it's Charlie, maybe it's not, who knows? Is the state proving its case? That's perhaps the biggest question right now at this juncture of the trial, and who better to help us answer that? A judge that you know and love. He's the retired chief judge who presided over the Casey Anthony trial, the Honorable Belvin Perry. He's in private practice now, so really want to tap into his lawyer brain in addition to his judge brain as we go through some of these questions about the Adelsons. Judge Perry, great to see you.
Good morning, Julie.
Good morning. Okay, so would you talk to us, please, about how well or not well you think the state of Florida is doing in proving this case against Donna Adelson?
Okay, the state is basically putting on what I call a jigsaw murder case. They're putting the various pieces together in this big puzzle. But at this time, they've laid an interesting foundation. The question is whether or not they're going to be able to prove that this death was caused by the criminal act of Donna Adelson. So far, you got a lot of smoke, you got a lot of suspicions. That evidence is not there yet. Hopefully, they will get there. They're going to also have to show whether or not her actions or a series of actions caused the death of the victim in this particular case. So at this point, it's interesting. They're putting the building blocks together, but in my estimation, they have a long way to go.
Oh, appreciate that, Judge. Let me play a clip for you. These are pieces of evidence we're about to share this morning that we saw in Charlie's trial, that we're seeing again in Donna's trial, and we have the benefit of the transcription from Charlie's case. So same piece of evidence where she's calling the undercover agent. We know she gets tangled up in this web where Charlie called it an extortion plot in his trial, but nonetheless, Donna's nervous, we know. And here she calls this undercover agent to explain herself. Let's watch.
You approached me on Alton Road. You handed me an article from the newspaper about my ex-son-in-law. You told me I need to call you and help your friend who was in prison. Now, at the time you did that, I didn't understand what you were talking about. I didn't call you back. Then you mailed me a threatening letter. Then you send me a text message to my phone that says I'm not taking you seriously. So I am taking you seriously. I just think instead of asking me, you should get the money from the police. There's a lot of money out there, and I know if you think you know who this is, then go ahead and do it, because I know it isn't me. I know it isn't me, and I can't take this kind of level of stress. I just can't. I know I didn't do anything.
You talk to people, you talk to the right people, you talk to people, you make this 5K come to me. That's all I need. Just do it and get it to me. Do it and get it to me.
I'll call you
Bye.
back.
Oh, okay. Judge Perry, who do you think this piece of evidence helps more, Donna or the state of Florida?
I think it helps both to a certain extent. Number one, why is she talking to this guy and continuing this type of conversation? On the other hand, she denies any involvement, which leaves the door open for her to say that there's some type of extortion plan in this particular case against someone else. Maybe her daughter, maybe her other son. But without more, it's not concrete evidence that she was involved either in the murder or the solicitation or the conspiracy to commit murder. So far, it doesn't show any agreement. It doesn't show any encouragement. It may show a cover-up of something, but covering up what?
Great points, Judge. Let me ask you about something else that would be the judge's decision on this case, and want to know what decision you would make if presented with this. The one-way ticket to Vietnam that we know that Donna purchased, and she was shocked at the warrant being issued for the arrest. We've seen those clips again and again where she's in the patrol car and surprised, and she says she was going there because she thinks it's a place of peace and looking to get some peace, and we know it's a non-extradition country with us here in the U.S. So if the prosecution asks you, Judge, for the flight as consciousness of guilt instruction on this one, do you give it on these facts?
Absolutely yes. It would be up to the jury to determine whether or not how they want to interpret it, but it is evidence of flight.
Mm-hmm. And the state, it's a wonderful instruction, isn't it, if you're on the side of the prosecution? It's a really, really helpful instruction. And perhaps one of the most things that will be helpful, one of the things that will be the most helpful, I mean to say, in this case, as you noted, because it's messy with Mama Donna. As you said, they're putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and that's at least one very clear big piece, but they've got to get there first with the other elements. Judge, any advice for these attorneys, you know, if you could tell them at this point, you know, I always feel like when we watch trials as attorneys, we think of, oh, how would we do it differently? Is there anything you would do differently if you're the state of Florida?
So far, I'm satisfied with the presentation by the state of Florida. They are basically laying the foundation. Hopefully, they will be able to put on more evidence to build upon this and connect all the pieces to show that she was actually involved. But as the folks would say, stay tuned. The case is a long way from being over.
Judge Belvin Perry, you are the best. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great holiday weekend.
All right. Same to you.
Thank you. We'll hit a break. When we come back, here's what's still ahead on opening statements. We're going to dig in more on Mama Donna's trial, looking at the wiretaps and the Adelson family's code language. Plus, Cardi B's civil case rolling into next week. So plenty of fireworks, though, for the jury to think about as they get ready for the closing arguments.
And if you wanted to scratch or cut her face with your right hand or your left hand, if you wanted to do it, you could have done it, correct? So
but
you're
I
not
didn't.
disabled.
But
right?
I didn't because I had a baby inside me.
How did she know?
Hang on.
The Court TV podcast will return.
Matriarch of the Adelson family gets arrested.
Terrible.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law, Dan Markel.
Prosecutors say a bitter child custody battle was the motive for the murder-for-hire plot. Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
Now that the ship is really sinking fast, blood doesn't matter that much.
The Matriarch Mastermind Murder Trial. Live coverage today, only on Court TV.
I was looking at her face, but I wasn't looking like, she got a pimple on her face? No, I wasn't looking at her details or anything.
Oh, Cardi B on trial in a civil courtroom in California. Welcome back to Opening Statements. So we know that they're on a little pause for the holiday break while we're all on pause, and people still talking about her testimony a lot this morning. So Cardi B is being sued for $24 million by a security guard who is claiming that the rapper scratched and injured her face. Now, Cardi B disputes it, and she did not disappoint on the stand. Take a look at some of her most memorable moments.
I feel like when I got sued, I was like, when I got sued, I was like, oh, I know I didn't touch her. Like, it's like, look for the cameras, because they'll tell you. I personally feel like if there's no physical touch, there is no incident. There was a verbal altercation. If you think that that's an incident, a verbal altercation, then it's an incident for you. Oh, yeah. She also was saying, like, because I don't give a who you are. I don't give a who you are.
And why were you concerned?
Because I'm pregnant, and this girl's about to beat my ass. Hello? She told me, when I told her, why are you recording me? She said, oh, my bad. She practically apologized.
Did she apologize to you?
If you saying, oh, my bad, when I'm telling you why you're recording me, to me, that means you're recording me. And it's right there, right now. It's on my face.
Court is dark today. The jury gets an extra long holiday break. No doubt, though, the attorneys are hard at work preparing to give the all-important closing arguments set for next week. So what do you want to hear in the closing arguments from these attorneys? Let's bring in our power panel. Well, three of my favorite people on the planet are here this morning. We've got jury consultant Susan Constantine, entertainment commentator Holland Reed, and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Joe Tamburino. Good morning to you all. All right, so closing arguments. One of the most important moments at any trial, as we know. What do we want to hear from both of these sides? Joe Tamburino, our lawyer on the panel, would you start us off, please?
Good morning, Julie. Thanks for having me on. Well, I think what the defense has to do is talk about Cardi B's testimony as well as Dr. Fink's testimony. Cardi B did great. I mean, the thing that every juror wants to know is this person telling the truth? Are they sincere? Are they being themselves? And there was absolutely no doubt that Cardi B was being herself. She was entertaining. She talked directly at the jury. She was very matter of fact. I loved her different changes of style and hair. I think she came across great. She looked very sincere. And then you buttress that with her doctor's testimony. I think Dr. Fink did a great job. I think this is a complete win for the defense. I'm still shocked that it went this far. But anyway, that's what I would do. Focus on Cardi B.
Right, Joe. I'm with you. I'm stunned as well. This made it to trial. Holland Reed, tell me, if you put yourself in the shoes of one of the members of that jury, what are you going to want to hear from each of these sides?
I think we've heard everything we needed to hear from each side. Cardi B did not come in fake. She came in authentic, which I think bodes well in her favor. She didn't dumb herself down. She came in exactly what we know her to be. She was no nonsense. She didn't try to swindle the jury or swindle anybody. She came in exactly who she is, profanity and all, and profanity does not equal guilt. So all of her, of the antics and her sarcasm, I think played well in her favor because she did not come in trying to be someone else. She came in being authentic. The other side, I don't even know why this is a case. There is no there. I said that yesterday, and I stand on that point.
Right. No, I know you do, and I'm with you on that. Susan Constantine, last but not least, certainly of this question. So I would ask you, let's say you're advising, because as a jury consultant, you advise attorneys all the time. What would be your best pieces of advice to each side as they get ready to close?
Well, they're going to be pointing out each other's weaknesses. They're going to be pointing out issues that where they can actually, what I say is, there's a word I'm trying to describe, and I'm kind of off my kilter here, is that I just think that you need to kind of break through some of the loopholes. I don't think that they're really going to have anything here. And to both my colleagues' points, I've listened to the entire trial. I just don't see it. So, you know, when you're thinking about what are you going to say, you've got to find out, you know, what areas were they weak? Where were they strong? And then you've got to really, you know, get strong inside there and just really reveal that. But what do they really have? Because I watched the video over and over again, and her demeanor and everything she's saying is right on point. You know, as you know, Julie, I'll call it out. I don't see it. So that's what I would say for the defense, is that she was herself. She was authentic. She was telling you the truth. Yes, she is, you know, she's very flamboyant. Yes, she, you know, lost, you know, she had an altercation. So what? That's where I would go with it.
Yes, yes. And you heard it from the expert, my friends at home. Susan's also a body language expert in addition to being a jury consultant. Yeah, watching her closely, I felt she was so authentic up there. And what more can you ask for, really, if you're her side? I think they would have to be very pleased at what she did on the witness stand. So let's talk some more about the optics. Now, we know Cardi B is very entertaining. One of my favorite moments was when she made pretty much the whole courtroom laugh. Take a look at this.
When I'm talking to you now, are we having a verbal altercation?
We having, I'll say, a debate.
And we're debating about whether you assaulted and battered Miss Amani Ellis, correct?
It's no, I guess so, but I didn't touch her.
Okay. In addition to owning defense counsel when she was on the, or plaintiff's counsel, I should say, it was plaintiff's counsel, her opposing side's counsel. She also served up some really gorgeous courtroom looks, very different looks every day as well. So let's talk about the expectations for the jury and whether the optics matter with her appearance. Susan Constantine, you know, I want to start with you on this one, my friend. Your thoughts, please.
Yes. We know, Julie, if this were a different type of case, you know me, I'm totally into pastels, right? This is not that case, okay? She's coming in as an entertainer. I think that those jurors, when they walk in, they're going, I can't wait to see what she's wearing tomorrow. Let's look at her makeup. They're probably talking about her makeup tips in the back area. but anyway, humor goes a long way. And when you're looking at her facial expressions, they actually mirror exactly what she's thinking and feeling. So that authenticity and the way that it's synchronized and those movements are all in the duration of those emotions are all in sync. So I found her to be quite charming. I enjoyed watching it, and I was just as entertained as everybody else was, especially, I'm sure, that the jury is too.
Yes, Susan. Holland, tell me, what did you think of the beautiful looks that Cardi B was serving up for the jury?
Oh my gosh, I love them so much, Julie. I loved that she stayed, again, true to herself. There was no bait and switch here. She came in, she gave you blonde, she gave you pixie cut, she gave you dark, you know, vixen. She did not mince words, and she did not mix up trying to dumb down her persona. Big personality doesn't equal fake, and it doesn't equal guilty. And she did not dumb that down for this jury and for this audience, for us. And I think that's going to really, really, really drive the point home that this is all a money grab, and she is being her authentic self through and through, and nothing is going to stop her from making this her stage and her moment, regardless of what someone's trying to get out of her $25 million over a scratch that we couldn't even see. So I think it's gonna bode well for her.
Yes, yes, I agree, Holland. Joe Tamburino, would you take us home? Being a trial attorney, you know, the jurors, they notice everything, don't they? I'm sure over the years you've talked to them, they probably told you things that they noticed. They like your shoes, your suit. What do you think they may be thinking with her looks?
I think she's got a great team. I mean, first of all, she's a very attractive woman. There is just no doubt about that. Always has been. But also the whole change of style with hair and clothes, her mannerisms, I thought it was spot on. And, you know, hats off to her team because obviously, you know, she's a star and she must have a good public relations person and someone who's good with hair and wardrobe. And I'm sure they methodically planned this out. And it was good. They pulled it off very well. And again, going back to what the jury wants sincerity, and I think she was dripping with sincerity. I think she's going to win the day.
I'm with you, Joe. Well said. We'll leave it here for now. And then we know Cardi B, of course, they're coming back on Tuesday, the all-important closing arguments. We'll see what look she gives us then. Susan and Holland, we have to let you both go. Thank you for weighing in and sharing your insights with us this morning. Have a great holiday weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Coming up next year on Opening Statements, we're going to turn to Idaho. The families of Madison Mogen and Ethan Chapin are requesting to permanently block crime scene images relating to their loved ones' deaths. Now, this comes as body camera footage of first responders arriving at the scene is released. We're going to focus on the family's legal battle next. Plus, we're counting down to live testimony in Mama Donna's trial. More surveillance evidence is coming up.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Welcome back. Long after Brian Kohberger has been locked up, the victims' families are still fighting for their loved ones, even in death. This morning, we're being a voice for those victims as the families of Madison Mogen and Ethan Chapin are requesting a permanent injunction preventing the city of Moscow from releasing any more of the documents relating to the murders.
I wish to emphasize is that blurring is not redacting. Your Honor has in the record, for example, in the testimony of Stacy Chapin, how incredibly harmful and emotionally damaging it is for her to see images of her son and the other murder victims that are in these images that were released and that may be released.
Now, the judge says she will take the arguments under advisement and extend the temporary order blocking the release of any additional information until her ruling is made. So for these families, the issue is privacy. They want to protect their children's privacy, understandably so. This was so gruesome, what has occurred here. The city's position is that we're compassionate and understand that these victims' family members are upset, but by law, the public has a right to know. So we're stuck. We either don't release them and we get sued, or we release them and these families are upset. So what would be the best resolution to this? Let's bring in our legal eagles. Still with me, Attorney Joe Tamburino. I want to welcome in now Attorney David Bruno. David, let me start with you on this, please. What do you think would be the best resolution that the court should come down with here?
Yeah, well, what's applicable here in Idaho is the Court Rule 32I, and it balances between the public access and the privacy interests, and it gives the court the inherent power and broad discretion to seal this up even after the case has been decided. And that's where the court has to look to these compelling reasons, right? And if you want to add compelling reasons or make arguments, this is it. This is the case where family members have to endure the continued reporting and images and learning about this traumatic death of their children. So it's the best case scenario for the city. I understand the city wants to be above board and not be sued either way from the public or the victims. And now the city is going to get the clarity it needs from the court because the victims brought this. And I think the court's going to err on the side of privacy interests on this one just because of the facts as we know it and the brutal killings and what these images and these body cams will likely show should they be released. So the court has the power. It gives them the inherent power with compelling reasons, and then the city's just going to hide behind the order and say, this has been decided by the court.
David, thank you. Joe, let me ask you, please, which side do you think has the stronger argument here and why?
Well, the city has the stronger argument because under the law, the records have to be released. However, they can be redacted and blurred. I mean, there's no great answer to this situation. And if the district court judge does seal these records, prevent them from being released, there should be an appeal. And believe me, I'm not saying that this information should get out there, but Julie, especially working in the media, you're an excellent journalist. You must have transparency. Our laws are based on public courtrooms, public information. You can't close courtroom doors. You can't seal records just on a whim. Now, David brings up some good points because this was horrific murders, absolutely. But you just can't keep everything from the public. So yes, there should be redactions. Yes, there should be blurred out faces and people. Yes, that when the city releases this information, it should not go in, well, it should go in the least gruesome form, but you can't simply just seal it. So if the district court does rule in the favor of the victims' families, I think there would be an appeal. Some media organization will take up an appeal.
Well said, Joe. Thank you. I want to show you all a video that this just was made public. For anybody who may be triggered, want to let you know this is where the first responders are walking into that King Road home, getting their first look. And this was so graphic that parts of it had to be blacked out. So there's going to be nothing wrong with your TV here. You're going to see everything is going to go dark, and then the images are going to reappear. Let's take a look.
Where's she at? Where's she at?
Yes.
Where at? Up here? Up here, up here. And I checked to see if she was breathing, if she's... And I didn't check her yet, but I'm pretty sure... 13. Okay, get back. Okay, stay back there, please.
Can you imagine having to see that? Ooh. David Bruno, I think, probably it's something I think a lot of us don't think about, unless you do that job, what that's like, going into that crime scene, seeing it, I mean, here this hearing we're talking about is over, whether public members get to look at redacted images. That these first responders, unfortunately, had to see everything raw and just brutal.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, I haven't been one of the first responders there, but as a former homicide prosecutor, working with these kind of cases in autopsies and seeing blood spatter, walking through crime scenes with detectives, I could relate as well. It's a job that has to be done, unfortunately, though. This is a technology boom as well, Julie. I think it's important to bring up that, these legal standards have to adapt as well to the times. And when you have these mandatory body cam mandates for police and the technology that's available to document things more graphic than it ever has, there has to be those sort of moving targets in our law. And again, I think, and I'm not frequently, Joe and I are on the same page on this, but I'll take the victim's position on this. This is just egregious. And that is what that court rule in Idaho specifically gives the district court the authority to do, is seal. And we're not sealing the whole record. It is really just the bodies that are being sealed and the manner in which they were killed with those injuries. So it's tailored. It's not an overbroad sort of protection that's being requested here.
I appreciate that, David. Good points. Let's take a listen together to the government's response here, the attorney who represents the city of Moscow, some of what he said to the court on Thursday.
We are simply, and by we, I mean myself, my office, and the city of Moscow, are simply trying to deal with the competing interests that the statute has created and do what we can to balance the public interest in getting sunlight being the best disinfectant versus the very understandable concerns of any number of families of the victims.
You know, there was one thing he said I really liked, Joe. He said, you know, if I could, you know, throw these images up into the sun, something I'm paraphrasing, but he would love to get rid of them if he could, if that were the law. Is it kind of an impossible position the city is finding themselves in here?
Well, it's a very difficult position because, you know, the situation is this. When you deal with a government entity, you're dealing with freedom of speech, freedom of information, the public's right to know, the legal process should be open to everyone, and specific laws, and all states have them. That is, when a case is being investigated, of course it's confidential. You don't want anything leaked out because it's being investigated. But when a case is over, again, this is our public system, yes, material should be released. Again, redacted, absolutely redacted. You can't have, you know, these gruesome type of things just hanging out there. But it becomes a slippery slope when in one case you say, you know, this was so bad that we just have to seal it all. Because I guarantee 6 months from now, a year from now, there will be some other case, unfortunately. And they will say, well, we want these sealed. And pretty soon, everything gets sealed. So in an open society, it is very important to have transparency. That's why I think, again, if the judge does side with the victim's family, and I totally understand why that would happen, believe me. If the judge does side with that, it's going to be appealed.
I really appreciate it. Well, this is such a great discussion. You both are making such excellent points, and you're both very compassionate toward victims. You both understand where these victims are coming from here, and also being attorneys that you know the law. And so this is just, like you said, Joe, no good answer to this. This is awful. I'll leave everyone with this. Something that hit me, the attorney representing the victims said that there's a commodification of the killings by certain people who are obsessed with crimes, and it makes it really hard for victims' families. And these people aren't thinking about what happens to those people affected by the crimes when the images are released. And it really got me thinking about what we always aim to do, and we're going to do it here now as we head to a break, and that's put the focus on the victims. Joe Tamburino, David Bruno, stand by kindly, please, and thank you for weighing in on this. Let's show you a picture of those beautiful people who were taken far too soon from this earth in the most brutal way. These beautiful faces, look at them. Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle. We are sensitive to what their family members are going through as they are devastated, and always will be, about their losses of life. We'll hit a break and be right back with more opening statements on the other side.
This is the Court TV podcast.
Let's talk about the Adelsons as we're getting ready for the matriarch mastermind murder trial of Mama Donna to resume any second. I want to show you a live picture at the courtroom. Seal, our camera has to be fixated on the seal when there's no action to be filming. We're keeping an eye. We're ready to go. As soon as the judge is on the bench, we're going to go in live. In the meantime, let's talk about the Adelsons speaking in code. We've got the recorded calls and surveillance videos. Mama Donna and company have their own little language they're using. Investigators say it is a giant red flag. Donna calls Charlie after the bump when she's approached by an undercover agent. Take a listen.
I've got some paperwork hand delivered to you.
You're being sued?
No, that's what I thought it was, but I'm going to talk to you. Or make you take me out to dinner, so make sure you bring cash with you.
All right.
She said she's going to make him take her out to dinner, bring the cash, right? So we got paperwork hand delivered. I'll make you take me out to dinner, so make sure you bring the cash. They're not obvious, are they? Let's decode the criminal talk with two outstanding criminal defense attorneys. They've also been prosecutors too, Joe Tamburino and David Bruno. All right, thoughts on some of what we heard in those wiretaps? Joe, what do you think? Is the Adelson family fooling anybody?
No, they're not fooling anybody. I mean, you know, they must have watched too many crime dramas throughout the years. This whole thing, like, remember, in part of it, it was, well, you got $5,000 for a TV. Really? I mean, $5,000 for a TV? Wow, must be some TV. So no, they're not fooling anybody. But, you know, in this case, I gotta say, I mean, there's no actual, you know, direct evidence that Donna was part of it. However, there's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of talking in code. There's a lot of things that look extremely suspicious. So, you know, I think things don't look good for Ms. Adelson, but this code business, no, they're not fooling anybody.
Appreciate it, Joe. We're showing some live pictures of the judge. He's moving about the courtroom. We saw him in the well, and then he just went up to the bench. So we're waiting. Looks like they're not quite ready to go just yet. David Bruno, tell me, what did you think when you heard all the recorded talk played in the courtroom for the jury?
Problematic for Donna because on the street with the agent, she is very clear. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. It's not me, this and that. And then you see a different line of communication with her son. So one in and of itself wouldn't be as powerful as the contrast between the two communications. That's number one. The state also has two, I think, very, very important pieces of circumstantial evidence, which is the financial transactions, which is Donna signing the checks that ultimately go to the co-conspirators, and then also her flight, that consciousness of guilt, as well as the communications about the flight and leaving on the recordings. So if I were the prosecutor, I would use those two things as my bricks, my financial documents and also the flight, and then the circumstantial evidence. And what a thorough investigation as well, with wiretaps, with surveillance, with zoomed in lenses, cameras and mesh bags. I mean, they really have it all on a very difficult case. This is a tough case for prosecutors circumstantially, but on top of those two bricks that I laid out with these other recordings, they're at least doing what they need to do.
Right, David. Yeah, it's a challenging case. Certainly, it's not easy, as you both know, having been prosecutors. Joe, do you think they can make the link if they're able to call it out and say, look, these people are rich people that didn't want to get their hands dirty, and so that's why we don't literally have blood on their hands. But if you look at all these suspicious things, you can see what was happening. Do you think they're going to be able to meet their burden, Joe?
Yes, I think they will. And, you know, David mentioned about circumstantial evidence. That's true. I mean, this case is all circumstantial evidence against Ms. Adelson. However, in every state, there is a law, there is an instruction that is given to a jury. And basically what it says in a matter of words is that even though it's circumstantial evidence, you can give it as much weight as direct evidence. So that means that a person can be convicted on circumstantial evidence. It's up to the jury whether or not the state met its burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And I think in this case, the state can prove that.
Thank you so much for saying that, Joe Tamburino. One of my pet peeves is when people go, oh, it's a circumstantial case. And I'm going, have you tried one? Do you know sometimes how good circumstantial evidence can be? It doesn't mean your case is sunk. No, that's just one of those television expressions. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit a break. Joe, you're coming with us to Court TV Live. David Bruno, you got to go off to court. Thank you so much. We'll see you next Friday. That's all for opening statements, friends. Watch the episode again. Tell your friends about it. We're here every weekday morning to get you all ready for the big day ahead on Court TV Live. That's all for this episode of Opening Statements, my friends. I'm your host, Julie Grant, and it's been great being with you. On this show, I am calling out any pants on fire moments in our big trials and true crime stories, and I want you to come along with me. Opening Statements is live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern on Court TV. Thank you for downloading this episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. You can watch past shows anytime you like on CourtTV.com.